Hey guys, it's Salukis. Welcome back to the next episode in Gameplay School. Today we're going to be talking about ball and like the rights and wrongs, orbs, pads, transitions, all the good stuff. Hopefully you'll have a better grasp of what fun ball gameplay is by the end of the video. And keep in mind that all the examples in here are based off of my opinion, but are strongly recommended. All right, enjoy. All right, here are the examples for the ball game mode. In this first example, we're going to be talking about blocks. So, as you can see here, we got a buffer click, which are super satisfying, and they can also be used in sync layouts in some cases. You also want to use this, because if you're trying to create sync, then stuff like this works. Be sure not to put too many. I'm not talking like, you can put up like up to 6 of these, like up, down, up, down, up, down, and then that's fine. But after that, you kind of have to be careful with how you use it, because if it fits, then go right ahead, but you got to be careful. You can't spam. All right, so here we're talking about, this is the bad game mode, block game mode. So you can see I'm kind of like guessing, like where the heck do I click, because if I click too late, I'm going to hit that spike, you know? So I have to guess where to go, and you don't want to make the player guess where to go, because that creates like unsight readable gameplay, and a lot of creators struggle with this nowadays, and they create like guessing gameplay where you have to think about it for a second instead of just sight reading it. So yep, there's ground to ground gameplay. That's a big no-no, and also that is not the good thing. So you don't want to make one block space up or down gameplay, because that creates no visual sync, and you want to be sure to create visual sync, because visual sync is cool. But you can use this. I'm not saying you can't. Not saying that for anything I say in this video, but you really should be careful of where you place it. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, moving on to orbs. So we've got our good example here with gameplay where it's this gimmick right here is commonly used. It's really fun when used properly. You switch gravity and then go on to an orb, such as a pink orb or any orb you want to do besides like maybe green orb. I'll be going over orbs in an entirely separate video, like a gameplay school episode, coming in the future. All right, so we've got this part, and we've got a dash orb. This is just basically a substitute for a pink orb, because you don't want to put too many orbs, too many of the same orbs in a row, when creating gameplay like this, and just simple up-down gameplay. Ball doesn't have much to it. There's not many things you can do wrong, but this is one of the things that can be done wrong, and it's orbs. Whenever I play bad ball gameplay, this is the #1 offender, and it's creating spammy gameplay that people don't like to play. So you don't want to make it to where that the player is just constantly spamming, because like I can just spam all through that. Like there's no sync. You can just spam. I can spam like 20 CPS and I'd still be doing the same thing. So you got to be careful with how you use orbs. You have to make sure to include blocks and slopes. All right, for our next example, we're going to be talking about pads. There's not much to this one. Just like in the cube game mode, you don't want to make sure like it's up here when there's not much room to go. You want to make sure that the ball has enough room to land and comfortably go into the following gameplay. So you want to make sure that in all of these game modes that your gameplay is comfortable and it doesn't create choke points. And all of these examples can be applied in harder levels. If you are having trouble applying this to a hard level, DM me at Salukis9392. It's in the description if you can't hear my voice, because I kind of mumble sometimes. Sorry about that. Yep, that's a good pad placement, because the orbs right after, you can buffer that, and that's a good thing. But when you do something like this, where, yes, you are buffering it, but then you go right into clicks. Don't put red pad and black orb together. They don't work. They just do not work. I don't think I've seen this gimmick since like when I first started playing in featured levels. They just don't do it anymore because everybody knows it's not a good thing. So you got to be careful. Don't put that, and don't put buggy stuff like this blue pad and pink orb where you have to time it. Because if I hit too early, I'm hitting that block right there. So you have to make sure that you have to be careful when you put pads and orbs together. And for our last example, I believe, we're going to be talking about transitions. This can be commonly misused in newer players' levels. So you want to make sure that you jump into it. This is a good example. Obviously, you want to make sure that the ball has plenty of room to land. Because if I hit really early, I'm missing. So you have to make sure if you want them to hit late, like put a spike over it. And then all the players will be like, oh, so I just have to aim in there. That's cool. And see, every time you'll end up doing this really satisfying buffer click going into some fun gameplay, hopefully. And for our last example, we've got the classic red pad / yellow pad gameplay. And usually this ends up with your cube getting a concussion on the roof. And you don't want your ball to have a concussion, that's not good for the ball. So no concussions. We want to make sure that it doesn't hit the ceiling based off of a pad transition. You want to make sure that if you want to use a pad, use a pink pad and make sure that, see, that still goes up pretty high for a pink pad, So you have to be really careful when how to use that. But just stick with the other example and go with a jump. And all right, that's all the examples. Here's an example of some fun ball gameplay. It's all about house music. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Gameplay School. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or concerns about the video, then just DM me at Salukis9392. That'll be in the description. All right, have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.